All right. I am back again. I am back again. I am back again. Well, I got a little confused. I don't know where I'm at. I think I'm still getting used to this YouTube. So um, bear with me. I'll get better with time. Um, but everybody keeps saying you got to get in there and do it. And mistakes are going to occur, and you just have to move with them and keep going. So um, I'm going to do just that. So if I've made mistakes, and I'm sure I have, and we're still working on the studio. I mean, it's a mess in here, but it's going to get there sooner or later. So just hang loose with me. Um, I'll get better as I get used to it because I'm really not used to doing this. Um, but I have to admit I'm enjoying it, even though I may not be um, getting things right. I'm enjoying myself. Okay, now um, I might have gone over this, but I'm going to go over it again if I did. If not, then okay. But I think it's a very important phase for for um, for boys, for the development of boys. And it begins at the age of 19. Age of 19 is where we begin to experience or enter into young adult stage. Young adult stage. We can. Now it's called young adult or early adulthood because we've transitioned now from being a boy to being a male. If we have developed mentally, emotionally, cognitively, then we enter into what's called malehood. Now, what we have done is we've looked at the body and said that, he's a male or he's a man because he's got muscles, and that's so far from the truth that it's ridiculous. A male is developmentally a boy who is developed into malehood. And again, understanding that as males, we are behind the development of the girl. Okay. So, and that's important. We're going to talk about it, but that's critical. There's a reason why girls develop first or develop before boys. It's important because it's about you being able to choose or make the right choices, ladies. And so you're not only you're developmentally smarter, you're more intellectually astute. Okay, and you're going to hear a lot of that, especially this phase right here, because okay. Anyway, here we go. We're talking about um, males. We've entered into malehood. Now, some of the developmental markers, is that we focus in on food. We want to eat all the time. I know at this age, I know I was eating constantly. I was eating 3 and 4, 5, 6 times a day. I was eating and I wasn't even hungry. It was just the act of eating. Okay. So the whole idea of food became very, very important. The other thing is sex. I became infatuated with sex. And not only sex, but with pornography. Okay. And not only pornography, but masturbation. All these things came into fruition at this particular age. And it comes in with for the male because his developmental markers is sex, sandwich, and silence. That's all he wants: sex, sandwich, and silence. He wants to be able to do whatever he wants to do without any kind of feedback, any kind of of, of someone saying something against what he's doing. So his developmental marker is sex, sandwich, and silence. And why is that? Because he sees that the key is fun, food, and fornication. He wants those things, and that's all he really focuses his life on is fun, food, and fornication. He wants to plant his seed as much and as often as he can. And the food is to keep up his strength so that he can do it. If he's not doing it, he's masturbating. If he's not masturbating, he's thinking about. But it's all about planting seed. And so it's the idea of initiation. It's the idea of wanting to plant seed. It is not a bad thing. It is a positive thing in the development of the male. Because what it does, it allows the species to continue. He has to have that insatiable sexual appetite in order for the species to continue. But see, what we've done is we haven't seen it in the light that it was meant. We see it as just he's addicted to sex. And that very well may be for some, but for most, it is not. It's a developmental process that he's going through. Not every male wants sex all the time. There are some that do continually for the rest of his life, but there's some that don't. Most of us do, but some of us don't. Okay. So the whole idea is for him to experience food, fun, and fornication. Now, some of his cognitive thinking again is around sex, masturbation, and pornography. Those are his markers. Those are the things that keep him engaged. They're engaged. That's why he dates a lot. He dates a lot of women. He looks for a lot. He looks for sex. He's dating for sex. He's not dating to mate. He's just dating to plant his seed and to continue to move on and plant his seed wherever he can. And I'm not saying it's a good thing. I'm not saying it's a positive thing. He has to cognitively develop beyond this, but this is where he is in his early adulthood. Okay, when he's in this age between 19 and 20, 19 and 25, I believe it is 26, 25. So 19 and 25 in his early adulthood, that's what he wants. He wants to have sex. Okay, so his strengths, his strengths or his cognitive strengths is around the whole idea of planting seed. This is where he's thinking: planting seed, penetration, and initiation. That's what he does. That's for species, to maintain species. It is to plant, penetrate, and initiate. Okay? That's what he wants to do. That's what he's built to do. That's what he's designed to do. And if a female can't understand that ladies, if you can't understand that that's what it is that propels him to want sex, then you have an issue with it. You have an issue with it. Because some require monogamy, but really she doesn't really have the sexual drive that he has because she's not built for that. She's not. So she's not going to have the same sexual desires that the male has. Okay, so in that she's going to have issues in most cases, and but I'm getting off. I don't want to talk about her yet because we're going to talk about her when we talk about femininity. We want to stay on the male. The male is constantly thinking about food, fun, and fornication. He's thinking about planning, penetrating, and initiation. Now, his weakness, cognitive weakness, is the pleasure principle. He becomes addicted to the pleasure principle, and that's what will get in the way to his for from him developing beyond it, because he becomes addicted to it. He becomes addicted to the pleasure principle, the feel good. He gets high with sex. He gets high with it. I mean, the the ejaculation is a high. It's a rush. And in understanding that and knowing that it is a high, just like any other high, it can you can become addicted to it. And there are some who have become addicted, and as a result have not been able to mature past that phase of having sex all the time. Okay. Now let's talk about Adam. Let's talk about Adam as well, because again, we want to make those correlations between Adam and us. Now, Adam, when he eventually began to understand that he was who he was and that he needed to leave, he understood that he needed to leave the garden in order for him to have dominance. Now, here's where people have issue. Some people say, some people say that there were people, other races of people outside the garden. There were other people outside the garden, and that Adam and Eve were the first in their atmosphere in which they were placed in. Some people say that Adam and Eve were the first of all mankind. It depends on what you believe. Now, I'm not going to tell you what you should or should not believe, but the fact of the matter is that there began to be a proliferation of different types of people other than Adam and Eve. So where did these people come from? Some people say it was other folks. Some people say that it was all Adam and Eve's kids and offspring. You understand, if that was the case, where there is no law, there is no offense. So there was no law against having sex with your children or offspring, incest, if that's what you choose to believe. I don't know. I would just say that I choose to believe that there were other people outside. I think that would be more harmonious, to believe that there were people outside there, and that's how Adam began to spread his seed, and in his developmental processes began to spread his seed, just like many other males do. Adam was a male when he had not fully developed when he left the garden. He was still in his malehood. He was still immature in some areas, and then not in others. But because you had to understand that it was critical to sustain the species. It was critical. So to do that, he had to go out, and whatever he came across, there was no adultery, because there was no law that constituted that at that time. Because where there no law is, there is no offense. They had to procreate. They had to spread. They had to multiply. Okay. Some people have issues with that. Okay. But the bottom line is that Adam had he is the forerunner of the malehood of man. And so we act as he acted in most cases. Okay, so it's important for us to understand that this is the case. So it's what we've got to understand is that in relationship, a lot of times what we have is males who are early adults who have just begun to understand and to function in a way that challenges the way that he thought before. He's beginning to act out some of these things because he's still immature cognitively. But yet there is a process. Hopefully, with men there is a process. With males there is a process. Understand the stages of boy maleness or whatever you want to call it is a baby or a boy. Okay. Then there is a after the boy there comes a male, and there's stages to each. And then lastly is manhood. All three are developmental and not physiological. So here we are in the beginning stages of malehood. So yes, he's immature. Yes, he's immature. Now, I'm not telling you everything because as we go on, I'll bring in more information. But I'm just trying to give you an overview of some of the things. But there's more to it as we go on, and we'll add, subtract, multiply, and divide rightly as we go on. Okay. So anyway, I'm going to stop there. I'm hoping that you're getting something from this. I'd love to hear from you. It doesn't matter. If you think that you're not getting anything from it, I like to hear that. If you are getting something from it, I want to hear that too. I want to hear from you. So help me to do a better job of what I'm doing. And the only way I can do that is through your help. This is Dr. G. Alpha Palmer saying, till next time, peace.